What is up, guys? Keem here on what's midnight, Monday morning, I guess. And I thought it'd be kind of fun to kind of show you guys my workflow for how I retouch images, how I not so much do the editing in Lightroom, but how I kind of clean up the skin a little bit in Photoshop once I have my basic edits done. We're gonna go ahead and hop onto this screencast here, and I'm gonna show you guys how I go about doing that. All right, guys. So the first thing that I do first of all, I get my basic edits done. Let me show you the before and after of this image. This is essentially how the image was first laid out, and then I went ahead and just kind of cleaned it up a little bit and made it pop a little bit more with the colors. Then what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and edit in Photoshop. Now the first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and hit Command J. What that's gonna do is it's gonna create a duplicate layer. I'm gonna go up here to Filter, Blur, Surface Blur. Now this is step one of step two, essentially, for how I clean up, like do a general cleanup of the skin. I have my radius set to 29 and my threshold at 19, just because I found that usually when I shoot between f5.6 to f10, this is essentially, a good amount to blur the skin. Of course, yours might be different. Just play around with it and see how it looks. Depending on the speed of your computer, this might take a minute or two to go ahead and process the edited layer. But we'll go ahead and speed up through this so you guys don't have to wait. All right, now that that's done, we're gonna go ahead and create a mask over it. We're gonna hit Command Delete or Backspace. Make sure you have your layer over here set to black for under. That way you can go ahead and just clear that layer, make it all black. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna hit B for your brush tool, or you're gonna come over here and make sure you have your brush tool selected. And what you want to do is you want to go over just the skin. Now this might not get the fine details like these pores that she has right here, but don't worry, we're gonna take care of those in step two. But right now what you kind of want to do is you want to adjust the size of your brush and just kind of go around, clean up the skin wherever you think it needs to be cleaned up at. No, it's very easy to get kind of like carried away with when you're doing stuff like this. Make sure you don't go over the eyes. Make sure that if you do, just Command Backspace and just go back. You can go ahead and redo it, guys. You have all day to do this. You don't have to rush it. Just go over the parts where you think, okay, the skin might be just a little bit rough there. We're gonna go ahead and it does look very photoshopped right now, and that's because we have our our opacity at 100%. This is a very forced effect, but once we dial it back, you'll be able to see it looks a lot more natural. I mean, realistically, if somebody looks at this picture, they may not even know, like, whoa, that looks Photoshop, because they have nothing to compare it to. If you show them the before and after, of course, they might be like, oh, yeah, that's Photoshop, like, whatever. Yeah. Sometimes I don't really know what I'm doing, guys. I'm just playing around, kind of like seeing what works. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. This is just kind of the steps that I found are the best for me. These steps might help you in your retouching. I hope they do. And if they do, actually go ahead and drop a like down below, man, because your boy could really use some likes with his new YouTube channel, just getting started and whatnot. All right, so we've got kind of like a basis for our first pass cleanup. Now what we want to do, let's zoom back out. Now when you zoom out, yes, to me it looks photoshopped. Some people might disagree. Some people are like, oh, that actually looks pretty good. But what I like to do with this first step is I dial the opacity down to right around somewhere between 50 and 70%. Here, let's go ahead and make the layer disappear and bring it back just to kind of compare. You can tell, well, at least I can tell, that when I put it on, it's a very subtle kind of like a effect to kind of smoothen the skin. I might even bring it down to like 58%. Let's see how that looks. That actually looks pretty clean. Now what I want to go ahead and do, I'm going to go ahead and hit Command J for the background layer. I'm going to go ahead and mix these two, or merge these two layers, just so that I can actually mute the top layer and you can see what the before and after looked. Now as you can see right here where you have the pores, it doesn't really affect the pores, like I said in before we got started with step one. But but that's what step 2 is all about. So let's go ahead and get to step 2. Step 2 would now be my action. I have an action set up here, which I'll actually go ahead and link a video down below so you guys can check out. I think I got it from this other guy on YouTube. It's a free action. You download it for free, and it actually is very effective. But I'm gonna hit play. We're gonna run the action, and what it's gonna do is essentially create like this high pass filter. So, like I said, the second step with the action is actually just a high pass filter that kind of goes over the image, and we're gonna do essentially the exact same thing that we did in step 1. We're gonna go ahead and hit OK. I have my radius set to 24 pixels, and that's kind of just, you know, what I found works. 3.5 with the Gaussian blur. We're gonna hit OK. And I'll be sure to link down the other video down below. That way you guys can check it out and check and get this action too, because it's saved my life so many times. It's such a good action. So now what we're gonna do is you can see this is a whole new layer right here, layer 1 copy. That is what the action had created. It duplicated the layer and it created this high pass filter over everything. Now, if I mute it and bring it back, you can see it didn't do anything. That's because everything is blacked out. We're gonna go ahead and hit B to bring our brush back, and watch what happens when I go over the pores here. You see how they get smaller and they get kind of like softer. I'm not gonna go over the entire skin because, as I said, that can be very, very photoshopped, and I don't like that effect. But I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go over parts where I think it could use just a little bit extra. I'm not gonna go over the parts that it already looks like it's been softened. Just over certain parts that may need a little bit of love, a little bit of, you know, tender love and care. Really, like, I think that's probably as far as I'm gonna take it, guys. I don't want to do too much. Because the thing is, we're also, you got to think about it, we're zoomed in at like 1000%. Yes, we can tell, when we look at the image, but you know, most people are going to be looking at it on mobile devices. Most people are going to be looking at it on the web. 99.9% of people are going to be looking at it on tablet, on an iPhone, or a computer. And this looks to me pretty good. Now, I am just starting out with skin retouching. I do not claim to be the best. I do not claim to be even good, I would say. But this is what works for me. This is what I have been using for the past couple of months as I've endeavored into this whole photography thing and Lightroom and Photoshop. This is all new to me, guys. But I have found that this is subtle and it's strong and it's, you know, it's decent. So now we're going to go ahead and Command Save. It's going to automatically save it back in Lightroom. As you can see, like, this is the original image right here. I'm hovering over it. It should create another copy of it pretty soon. If it doesn't, I'm gonna look really bad, and it's gonna make me look like I really don't know what I'm doing. Come on, come on, you can do this. There we go. It took a little bit of time. I've got a whole bunch of programs open, guys. Don't judge me. But as you can see, ooh. But yeah, that's essentially how I go ahead and I edit my images to kind of give it that soft skin effect. A lot of people have been asking me, yo, how do you get the skin so soft? Like, it's really, to me, I don't like to overcomplicate things. I don't like to, yes, you can spend literally hours and create 100 different layers. And, you know, there will be jobs out there where sometimes you have to do stuff like that. Let's say you're shooting for a high-end magazine one day and you gotta deliver. For stuff like that, you know, skin retouching is not really my cup of tea. As a photographer, I find I find more pleasure in going out there, meeting people, finding a way to kind of capture their essence and tell a story. This last shoot, this was actually a 2-part shoot. But stay on the lookout. I'll have the behind the scenes uploaded pretty soon. I'm a little bit backlogged with how many behind the scenes videos I actually have. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. I keep saying rate. Nobody rates. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys have anything else that you want to know about how I edit or how I kind of, like, you know, produce my images, feel free to comment down below, and I'll go ahead and get back to you and maybe even do a video in the future. All right, guys. Take care. I've had fun, and I'll see you on the next one.